All right, we are live on the Life Unrehearsed Facebook page. Welcome to the show. First half, we have Marco Vendramini. Marco, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
IG Wealth Management, financial expert, and all-around good guy. Marco, thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it. We should be on in about another minute or so.
Thanks for inviting me.
No, our pleasure. Thank you for coming on a Sunday and teaching us what we should be doing here in these crazy markets. So you could hear news.
A man was hauling a load of rocks last month, but wasn't sure how to get to their destination in Bali. He checked Google Maps and started off, not realizing the route suggested was for motorcycles, not trucks.
He's taking a motorcycle route instead of a truck route. Okay. We're going to be on any minute. Okay, enjoy the show, everyone. That's it, Marco. It's like before Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. You know? Ready to roll. When you see this on air, that means the mics are live.
We're on air.
Temperature right now in Montreal -8 degrees.
We might get one commercial or we might get into it. We'll see.
Breaking news as it happens. News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Here we go. We're on.
All good.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed, a show about the ins and outs of family life. So your life isn't going exactly as planned? Well, you're not alone, and we're here to help out. My name is Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in free retirement home search and senior transition support.
And I'm Corey Serrata, clinical social worker and psychotherapist, specializing in grief and loss.
Coming right up on the first half of today's show, it's RRSP season, and you're concerned what to do with your finances, and even better, your overall wealth management. During these volatile times, Corey, as you know, we have in studio a financial expert, Marco Vendramini, that will be telling us all about it for some helpful words of advice. Speaking of RSPs being the season, Corey, I'm sure you've maxed out all your RSPs and you're ready to go, huh?
I wish I could say I maxed out all my RSPs. First, I really need to understand what RSPs are, but we're going to talk about that with Marco. Thank God he's in the studio with us. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, he's a wealth of knowledge, and we're looking forward to having him. What do we have on the second half?
Well, on the second half of the show, love is in the air and love is in the studio. We have newlyweds Katja and Adriano and Steve and Gail Webster, who are married 51 years. And they're all in the studio to help us, remind us how to keep our love alive, especially with Valentine's Day coming up. When better.
It's approaching quickly, and we thought, hey, you know what? Let's get the newlyweds and someone that's been around the block, been married 51 years. We're going to pose very similar questions and can't wait to hear their answers. So that's coming up after the 4:30 news. So let's get started, Corey. Very often, especially this time of year, I often hear, and even for myself personally, what do we do with our investments during these volatile times? The markets are up and down. Now there seems to be a trend away from RRSPs, more TFSAs. What do they even stand for, like you're saying, Corey? Mm-hmm. Which is best to do? Should I invest or pay down debt? What about insurance? There's just a lot of questions. It can get very confusing, and that's where we're going to turn it over to our financial expert, Marco Vendramini from IG Private Wealth Management. Marco, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here on the show, and as I mentioned, markets have been volatile over the last few months. What should an investor be doing in these crazy times?
I think it's important. When markets go up, investors rarely ask questions because they look at their statements and everything is fine and they file them away and it's all good.
But you're heroes now.
Yeah. Well, you're either a hero or a zero. That's how I see it. But I don't want to be either one. I just want to try to educate my clients as best as I can. The fact of the matter is, when people get their statements like they did recently, and markets were badly hurt, especially in the last quarter and December more specifically, it brings a sense of uneasiness to a lot of people, especially if you're retired, especially if you were thinking of making that RRSP contribution or TFSA contribution. And I think that our role as financial advisors it's very easy to say, well, here are the 3 steps that you should do in order to, recover the money that you did and so on. But I think the first thing that our role is to listen to people, because everybody's different. Everybody has fears about, will I recover the money? Am I going to lose all my money? So I think our first role is to listen to people and to find out, are you okay with what's happened? Obviously, nobody's okay with it because nobody likes seeing their statement go down. But you need to ask a lot of questions. And most of my clients are retired. And there's 2 things that you worry about when you're retired. One of them is your health. You worry about your health. And you worry about running out of money. So when you have a portfolio that you see that goes down like that, you say, well, am I going to run out of money? Because the last thing I want to do is to move back with the kids, right? So, yeah.
So I'm listening to this, and I have to tell you, when I was looking at the questions, I started to sweat. And I started to sweat because I realized, and I'm going to be humble here and somewhat embarrassed, but self-disclosure, I didn't understand a lot of what I was supposed to be asking you.
Right.
And so I wondered, how many people out there, I'm going to be honest, specifically women, are that ignorant? And how important is it for us to understand what it is you're talking about?
Marco, just before that, because Corey, you brought this up, as most people know, we're listening regulars, we drive in together, and you brought this up. I think it's such a valid point. As you know, in my world, I get a lot of situations where women are outlasting men, and
Right.
as you age, all of a sudden, maybe the man was the financial person, and now you're kind of on an island on your own. So I think it's a very valid question, Corey. I think there's a lot of people worried, particularly women, about getting better control over their finances.
Help us out.
Right. Well, we live busy lives, right? We have our own careers and we have kids, and the way that we kind of manage our lives is, okay, you take care of this and I'll take care of that, and so on and so forth. And I see a lot of that, and I've seen, like you said, Matt, women are outlasting their husbands, and it's just an actuarial thing. Women live longer than men. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I need to see both people at a meeting at least once a year. I mean, I can understand that maybe during the year I may talk to one of the 2 spouses and so on, but I mean, husband and wife or couple, they both have to be there, because I want to ask questions about each other's objectives. I don't want to ask maybe just the husband, what are your objectives with your wife and so on. I want to have that conversation with the spouse as well. And I would tell you that most men do not really know 100% what the objectives of their spouse is. They'll just plainly say, matter of fact, well, I met my financial advisor today, we did the RRSPs and so on, and they just give you the situation. But I think the planning that we try to do with our clients brings that conversation with husband and wife, and it becomes very important. And you don't want to have that conversation every 3 months, but I think that annual meeting once a year to sit down and to kind of understand is important. And again, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo in our world, and what I think the financial advisor who does a good job will take this mumbo jumbo and make it sound really, oh, okay, I understand what you're talking about.
I would call that demystifying. That's Marco
Right.
Vendramini from IG Wealth Management, and he is sharing some very important advice for me. I guess other people are hearing it too, but I'm hearing it and hearing it loud and clear that really, I think there's a fear in many people who don't understand it, but if you are telling me you will take people and walk them through it, because it's so important that they understand it. Because again, as I'm learning, as I'm going, it's much more than just investments and good tax returns. It also involves many other aspects in wealth management. What are some of the other aspects?
Well, first of all, you're concerned about your own retirement. I mean, you're concerned about, your kids and so on and so forth, and what you're going to leave to the kids. And so there's all that, right? There's what we're going to leave to the kids. It's what are we going to retire on? It's, and you may not think about the taxes that you're paying, but how can I say this? The conversation that we have with our clients, and coming back to what you were telling me, once you meet with your financial advisor, you need to, when that advisor leaves, you need to have that conversation with your husband saying, you know what, about the kids and so on, this is how I see it and so on. And there's great conversations that we have with our clients after we have those meetings. But yeah, I totally hear you. I mean, you need to meet your advisor at least once a year, Corey.
I think that's one of your biggest assets, Marco, and we are talking with Marco Vendramini, financial expert with IG Wealth Management, because you challenge, I am a client, and you challenge me. It's not just about investments, it's the whole family. Are you getting the proper insurance, proper estate sale? Now, it's approaching traffic time, Marco, but financial advisors, this is a key issue in the industry. They're retiring faster than ever, and they can't be replaced fast enough. Add this to the fact that the next 20 years will see the biggest transfer of wealth from one generation to the next. Big issue. So what should an investor be doing now to deal with proper succession? So we're going to hear back from you, but let's first head to the CJD Traffic Center with Lauren Glazer.
Okay.
How was that?
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think it was.
Did anyone learn?
I think it was very important.
Yes.
Because I don't think we hear it enough.
I didn't come out too
Didn't miss
bold
one.
with you or whatever.
Not at all. No.
Okay.
I think it's important that people understand. And I think, as you said, if more people are like me that are just, okay, we'll allow our partners and
Right.
it's great and you trust, and I do trust them implicitly, but I think we need to be more involved.
Yeah.
Say hello to Facebook, where we have a couple people watching. Maybe two, Marco. You're famous. Actually, one of them was my mom, Karen Mallory. Look at that. There I go, Ma. Brian Roger, good buddy of mine. And behind the scenes, we have the crew ready. This is for our Valentine's special. And we can't wait to have you guys on. After the 4:30 news, we'll have our Valentine's show and special, get the opinions of newlyweds and those that have been married for just a little longer than a year, huh? About 51 years. All right, we're in commercials. We're going to be back on the air in about a minute or two.
Can I make a suggestion, Matt?
Sure
about,
can.
The next conversation and so on, because I want to continue. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, there's so much stuff we can talk about, but I want to continue about that, about what our role is. In terms of, like, let's say your husband were to die before you and so on.
What is the role of the financial advisor?
The one thing that we don't talk about what we do is coming in need to a situation where, let's say you were a widow tomorrow, or let's say somebody loses their job. We talked about that, Matt.
Okay, so we could refer to, you're asking the next question about succession plans, okay? But I think it's a very valid point. This is a life unrehearsed issue you're talking about.
so.
Something's happened.
I think so.
A death.
So
It could be.
you're gonna
So
do that?
I'll ask about the life
something's happened.
unrehearsed and
What's
how
the
can the
role?
role of the financial advisor calm us down and sort of calm the waters.
Like, let's say tomorrow, you have to move out of your house, and you want to go to a retirement home or so on. That's a life-changing event, and our role as a financial advisor is to be there. So we don't talk about the dramatic events that, we often talk about the plans that we do for clients and the taxes that we save, but the real work that I think I do with my clients, and the reason why I'm able to have some type of success with them is it's basically because I'm there when there's life challenges.
So that.
Okay, so I'll address.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a very important point.
So what? Then what would be the other priority questions?
Okay.
Well, I think that's enough.
Well, that'll be
No.
two. And by the way, at around 4:26 ish,
Yeah.
4:27,
No.
we're going to be doing a little thank you and advertorial. If we do have an extra question, your choice.
Biggest strengths that you take a holistic approach, or is that going to come out?
I don't think you need to talk about my biggest strengths. If I explain,
Yeah, I think
if
it's
I
coming
explain to you that I'm there when dramatic events happen to my
Yeah.
clients, like
Yeah.
a spouse dying,
Yeah.
or you
So
had a
then-
handicapped child,
Yeah.
or you lose your job,
So
or
I
there's a
want to
divorce.
go with the myth or fact. You have to have a lot of money to have a wealth plan. I'm going to say myth or fact. Fact or fact.
Myth.
Okay, but I'm going to ask it.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me
Myth.
about what.
Huge
so that's,
myth.
So
And then that's a very
I
good one.
follow your
Yeah.
role of the financial advisor, myth or fact.
Let me ask
True or
you,
false?
that will have to be a quick answer.
Yeah.
Do you want us to get a shout out for CARE? Because that's one of the questions. And do we want to take that opportunity for a quick shout out for CARE and what it's all about?
And saying what?
You're on the board of CARE. you want to give them a plug in? I saw Olivia, by the way, last week.
Did you?
So
If we have time, if we have time, we're going to ask about CARE.
Yeah.
To our Facebook audience,
Yeah.
what is CARE? So right
Yeah.
in case we don't have time, can you tell them what CARE is all about?
Well,
And you're
CARE, I mean, you know, our kids, right, Matt?
Yeah.
They both went to Mackay.
Yes.
And after the age of 21, CARE takes care of kids who have large problems, like physically and mentally.
Here we go.
handicapped.
We're on. So we got half of it in.
Yeah.
CARE, C-A-R-E. Look it up. You're coming on.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Corey Sirotto with my co-host Matt Del Vecchio, and we are talking about financial situations, particularly financial. We're getting great financial advice from IG Wealth Management expert Marco Vendramini. Right before we went out to traffic, Matt kind of posed this very interesting fact that apparently financial advisors are retiring faster than they can be replaced. And so this could be a potentially really challenging issue. Marco, what do you suggest that investors do now to deal with this reality?
Well, first of all, you know, the one thing that people hate is change. And a lot of planners out there, I started hiring younger people because I want to be there for my clients forever, but through the younger people that I'm going to hire and so on. And it's very... people get very rattled by seeing their planner that they've had for 15, 20 years retire, and then they're just, you know, transferred to somebody. What I'm basically saying is that planners have to think more about how they're going to leave. They just can't leave, shut the door, and there's got to be some type of transition that they have to do, because at the end of the day, their clients have depended on them for 10, 15, 20 years. They're still retired. They need that great advice and so on. And I think we have to think about doing a better job of that. My solution, my own personal solution is, you know, I've accumulated 28 years of knowledge, and I want to transfer that knowledge to younger people on my team. And I want that to continue, you know, with the parents, the people who have my own age, and the kids as well, because kids are coming into the world, you know, they're, you know, between the ages of 20 to 35, and they're newly married, and they need advice on, you know, what mortgage should I buy, and so on and so forth. So my goal or my idea of the intergenerational practice that I'm building right now is to being able to cater to all of those people.
That's Marco Vendramini, financial expert from IG Wealth Management. Marco, I think it's such a crucial point you're bringing up, and good on you bringing in the younger generation that could also talk the same language. They have different challenges than someone, say, in their 50s, 60s, 80s,
Right.
90s.
Right.
So very smart, because succession is going to be an industry-wide issue in the financial planning industry. Now, Marco, we're not going to get into which stock should I buy, what RSP, you know,
Right.
I think the bigger question, and you are so good at this, is that a lot of your clients and everyone, the name of our show is Life Unrehearsed.
Right.
And there are many life unrehearsed issues that come up throughout a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a big proponent that the better financial advisors, wealth planners, can deal effectively with these life unrehearsed events. A death
Right.
of a spouse. You're moving, you're downsizing from a home, you're
Right.
going into retirement. There are many, many life unrehearsed events. So tell us how, you know, what should good financial advisors be doing when it comes to these events?
Well, you know, most of the relationships that I have with my clients have been, you know, through 10, 15, 20 year of relationships, and you get to know people. I mean, yes, they are your clients, but you get to know them, their spouses, their kids, the family, and sometimes somebody dies, right? A spouse can die, and, you know, the real work that I feel, like a lot of people say, well, you're all the same. I don't agree with that. I think the difference is what happens when there is a spouse that dies, and how do you help that person settle the estate and be there for that person in this transition that is so difficult. Another transition can be eventually selling off your home and going in a retirement home, which is such a difficult thing, not only for the person who is selling the home, but for the kids who don't know how to communicate that to the parents and so on. Somebody losing a job. You lose a job, what do? And what are the financial consequences? A divorce, or a separation, having a handicapped child, having that child arriving to age 18 or 21 when there are less resources and so on. So I think what I've done with the people who have been so great to giving me their trust and confidence and so on is I've tried to give them the type of care and financial advice that I would have wanted. I mean, I don't want to do business with a robot. I want to do business with a human being. That's
So it's more about the relationship. Right?
100%. The human
Incredible,
relationship.
incredible. True or false? Do I need a lot of money to have a wealth planner?
False.
How come?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as soon as you can start saving money, there are ways that, I can teach you on how to invest your money, on how to save taxes and so on. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have. We talk about robo-advisors and so on. I would challenge anybody who does business with a robo-advisor, and I could take that same young couple today with me, I can guarantee you they will have a lot more money with me than if they listen to a robot. Because let me tell you something, when markets are volatile and things are tough, robots don't know how to talk to people.
The emotion just isn't there.
Yeah.
It isn't. Well, Marco, I already have time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Very helpful advice as usual. It's Marco Vendramini from IG Wealth Management. How can people get a hold of you, Marco?
Either on the website, marcovendramini.com, that's MarcoVendramini.com, a very simple 2 words to spell, or phone number 450-227-9750, and Melanie will be very happy to answer the phone, and we'll help you. We'll meet with you, we'll listen to you, we'll ask you a lot of questions, and hopefully we can help you get from point A to point B and bring some wealth to you and so on.
I have no doubt that you will. Thank you so much. Coming up after the news, love is in the air. Whether you're a newlywed or married for 50 years, how do you keep that spark alive?
Excellent. Passionate, compassionate.
Yeah,
It's not just
yeah,
financial
clear.
advisor.
I
so
like
way to go.
our discussion more than some of these logistical
So did I.
questions. I thought, and it was just because as I was preparing, I was no.
I think you're going to have a chat with your husband tonight.
Oh yeah.
Marco, thank you very much.
My
All right,
pleasure.
we're going to shut her off here. Great show.
Thank you.